this is Mariela from the Functional Company. What is the carnivore diet? Have you heard of this diet? This is a diet where you eat only animal protein. You have no plants, no spices, plants, etc. So it's pretty much the complete opposite of a vegan diet. And I think this is a very interesting thing, and I'm going to share a little bit about what this is in this video. In the future, I'm going to share some additional information I find fascinating. But look, I'm a proponent of figuring out what works for you. And I've had enough experience with patients to realize that it's not the same exact thing. You cannot apply the exact same diet to every single person. The reason for that is because people's bodies are in different states, different decades, different metabolisms, so many different things, different cultures, all kinds of things that a body could be dealing with, right? So I'm just here to share with you different tools that I'm seeing or have seen that have worked wonders for a lot of people. So the carnivore diet is a very interesting diet because, like I said, you're just eating animal protein. So you could pretty much eat steak if you wanted to, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can have eggs. You can have dairy if you tolerate dairy. Some people don't, some people do. But the idea behind the carnivore diet and why it works so well for some people is that plants are actually how can I say this? It's like they have a mechanism to survive, okay? We all do. Every living thing has a mechanism to survive. And animals have the ability to bite you and kick you and do something to you, so in order for them to survive. But plants don't have that ability, but they do have their own mechanism. So what they do is that they release these chemicals in order to protect themselves against foreign invaders, right? And so those chemicals, some people tend to be actually very allergic to, and it can actually trigger autoimmune response for certain people, not everybody, but for some. And so what some people have seen is that if they completely eliminate plants from their diet, and they only eat animal protein, all of this immune reaction goes away. Their body starts to feel much more in sync. And this is really fascinating because, you know, at least in the last few years, what I've seen is a huge trend towards vegan, and lots of people are going vegan, vegan, vegan. And like, honestly, I always say you gotta just look at what works for you, and you just gotta keep experimenting, and just don't be so attached to a diet that you could never change. If you're getting bad indicators, you gotta change something. If you have very good indicators, you gotta keep going, right? So with the vegan diet, what I've seen is that some people have good results for the shorter term, but in the longer term, we start to see some breakdown of the body because it's missing certain nutrients. And some people are so attached to the results they had at the beginning that they almost can't see how it's not still applicable in the long term. But this is for each person to decide. There are possibly a few people who do the vegan diet correctly. It's just something you have to be very, very well studied in, and it just depends, but I just haven't seen it. Anyway, but what I wanted to share here is that it's very interesting. When some people eliminate plants from their diet altogether, they're seeing a huge boost in their immune system. All of the skin conditions clear up, all of this inflammation, all of this bloating, brain fog, all of this stuff just from eating animal protein. Now, the animal protein does have fat in it. It's not just completely lean protein. That's something that's very important to mention. So you're actually having a good amount of protein and a good amount of fat. Because another thing I've seen is that some people tend to do better with low amount of protein. Some people do better with a higher amount of protein. And this is just something that you kind of have to try on. But for some of you listening to this, you're going to hear me say this, or you're going to hear me say you could do an all animal meat, all animal protein diet, and you're going to be like, bing, this sounds awesome. And some of you are going to be like, that sounds terrible. You know, just follow what makes sense to you. But if you're one of those people that's like, wow, this is really intriguing because I really like meat, and I'm excited to hear that maybe it's a really good thing to try. Or if you're doing a bunch of plants and you're realizing you're having a lot of bloating and reactions, this is something you might want to try. So I just encourage you to learn more about the carnivore diet, but remember, it's not a lean protein diet. It has some fat, and what's interesting is just that it's naturally keto because it's fatty protein. So it's naturally keto because it's very low carb, and it's naturally keto because it has some amount of fat, and you've got that protein in there. So it's very interesting, very nourishing and satisfying for the people who it does benefit. And again, you don't have to be 100% carnivore, but it could be something that could benefit you if you're dealing with a lot of immune challenges and you don't seem to be doing well with like too many plants in your diet. So I just want to share that information. In the next video, I'm going to share actually a success story of somebody who went from 100% vegan to 100% carnivore, and the results that she got, which have just been incredible and amazing. So I'll share that with you in the next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the flip side.